The courtroom fell silent as the judge's final words echoed through the hall. But everyone present knew that today's verdict was not just for Feruza and Javlon. This judgment was read for every heart that had spent years hiding behind a mask of innocence. The heaviest punishment was not the 5-year sentence, no. The hardest part was something far more cruel. Those men who had once been captivated by Nazokat's beauty, who had lost their minds around her, today they left her completely alone. And for the first time in her life, Nazokat found herself trapped inside her own game. The real power of this moment lay not in the iron bars of the prison, but in how it exposed the hidden desires, the pride, the regret, and the long overdue truth that had been buried inside everyone's hearts. From the very first moments inside the courtroom, one thing was clear to everyone watching. Feruza did not arrive as an ordinary defendant. She walked in as a woman still desperately trying to preserve her legend. Every glance directed at her carried not just hatred, but also shame, deep and suffocating shame. Because in this case, the men involved were not merely deceived, they were exposed. Their weaknesses, their hidden cravings, their desperate need for validation, all of it laid bare for the entire world to see. That is why the moments when both victims withdrew their claims became such a crucial detail. On the surface, it looked like an act of courage, a noble decision to walk away. But beneath that surface, something else was happening. They were not scared of losing money, they were terrified of losing face. Nazokat had not lost everything yet. Some men she had taken money from, but others she had taken their secrets, and those secrets she carried with her like weapons, still sharp, still dangerous. This small detail became a massive clue for what was still to come. Feruza's defense strategy revealed everything about her mindset. She did not try to defend herself as innocent. Instead, she positioned herself as a woman who had simply exposed the weakness of men. This was extremely dangerous psychology at work. She still saw herself not as a criminal, but as someone who was taking what was rightfully hers, as if the universe owed her a debt. She admitted to lying, yes, but she continued speaking about the properties and wealth as if they belonged to her by some natural right. Her greatest tragedy was not the prison sentence, it was her own consciousness. She had long ago lost the boundary between love and greed. When men gave her things willingly, she did not view it as theft, she viewed it as their choice to fall at her feet. This showed that Nazokat had not broken, she had simply paused. She was still breathing, still thinking, still believing in her own twisted version of justice. And then came Manzura's testimony. This was the moment that opened the most delicate and complex layer of the entire case. She did not paint Nazokat as completely innocent, but she also refused to paint the men as completely blameless. Her words carried a painful truth that made the entire courtroom shift in their seats. Some men, she said, called their desires love. They wrapped their selfish wants in pretty words and romantic gestures. But when those same desires turn against them, when the game backfires, suddenly they become victims. Manzura was not defending Nazokat in that moment, she was exposing hypocrisy. Her testimony became the moral center of the entire series, not just a simple witness statement. Especially powerful was the moment she forced her ex-husband to admit the hidden desires he had kept locked away for years. This scene showed that the series was not just about one woman's deception, it was about how men too could be complicit partners in their own destruction. Sodiq's transformation became another sharp point in this episode. Even though hatred toward Nazokat was strong, even stronger than that was something else. Shame. When Sodiq apologized to his ex-wife, when he stepped back from the property dispute, it revealed a massive internal shift. Nazokat had not only destroyed people, she had also awakened them. This was such a bitter paradox. Because of Nazokat's evil, some men were finally forced to look at their own homes, their own consciences. That is why the ex-wife did not speak to Nazokat with complete hatred. There was a strange undertone of gratitude in her voice, confusing, complex, almost impossible to understand. Many viewers saw only the courtroom drama, but beneath that, broken bridges within families were beginning to show signs of repair. Javlon, however, became the most pitiful and most dangerous point of this entire episode. Before the verdict was read, he still stood in his mother's shadow, a puppet controlled by invisible strings. But after the judgment, in a single sentence, he separated himself from her. A father, just released from prison, came looking for his daughter. He had nothing in his hands, not even a phone. But his heart carried years of delayed fatherhood. When he learned that his daughter had already grown up and left the orphanage, when he heard that her phone was switched off, These were not simple pieces of information. They meant that this girl had already been forced to fight life alone, without anyone to protect her. And the series chose to show this on the very same day Feruza received her sentence. It was not coincidence. At the moment one woman's lies were crumbling, another girl's destiny was moving toward the center of the story. The coming episodes would not just focus on the aftermath of the trial. They would turn toward the abandoned children of the past and the fathers who came too late. The unknown woman at the end became the strongest hook of the entire episode. When she approached Sodiq, it was clearly not just a casual meeting. What mattered most was that Sodiq did not recognize her. This meant the series was once again bringing the past back in a new form. Whoever this woman was, her arrival signaled that Sodiq had not escaped anything. The trial was over, the verdict was read, but Sodiq's court of conscience was just beginning. This visit was not random. It was either the connection between Dilnoza's storyline and Sodiq's life, or it was the surfacing of a truth Sodiq had buried long ago. Throughout this episode, forgiveness, shame, returned property, abandoned daughters, unacknowledged feelings, all gathered in one place. And the final scene showed all these knots meeting at a single doorstep. For the coming episodes, the strongest prediction is this. Feruza being trapped does not mean her influence is over. On the contrary, now she will work through the marks she left on people's hearts. Javlon has internally broken away from his mother, which means one day he will reveal the secrets he has kept hidden. The men who withdrew their claims in court will not live peacefully either, because they saved their money but not their honor. And this series does not keep such shame buried for long. Manzura will also not remain on the sidelines, because her words about Nazokat showed that she is not just a woman watching from outside. She has seen the fake innocence between men and women, and will likely play a decisive role in future conflicts. Dilnoza, I believe, will now step into the center. Her father's late search, her lonely life, and the mysterious visitor at the end, all of these are not separate, disconnected threads. There is a very high chance that this girl's destiny will intersect with Sodiq's life, and that intersection will open new wounds. Perhaps Sodiq will pay a debt he never knew he owed. Perhaps he will bow his head once again before the fate of someone he overlooked long ago. The matchmaking topic in the seemingly happy family could also take a dangerous turn here, because this series often brings the most complicated destinies through doors opened with the purest intentions. The most terrifying conclusion of this episode is this. No one here is completely pure, and no one is completely evil, but everyone is paying the price for their choices. Feruza turned beauty into a weapon, and in the end, that weapon turned back against her. Men justified their desires as love, and in the end, those desires left them naked in the courtroom. Javlon walked in his mother's shadow, and in the end, he lost years of his own life. Sodiq woke up, though late, but the past has not released him yet. Now the most interesting part lies ahead. The law has delivered its verdict, but destiny has not yet spoken its final word. The greatest collisions will not happen inside the courtroom anymore. They will happen inside hearts. And this time, neither lawyers nor wealth nor apologies will save the one who falls.